Being a musician on YouTube, a video sharing site, I've always needed some form of graphics to pair with the music I post online. With my earlier uploads, I would usually just grab some existing assets and then edit them to make my thumbnails. Nowadays, I've been drawing a lot more custom artwork by myself, and that's mostly because I've simply just been enjoying it more recently. But how exactly did I get into drawing in the first place? Well, I had always sort of been on the cusp of being into it. I would doodle in my math notebooks pretty often. Occasionally I would commit to a longer drawing session, but still, I didn't draw super frequently, and I just did it casually. I never really paid much attention to ways that I could improve. Eventually, 2019 rolled around. I was just scrolling on social media, and I happened upon some pretty cool artwork. I was like, nice! And so I clicked on the artist profile and, wait, what do you mean they're only 14? And they can draw like that? Now, at this point, I was 15, and I was still at that point where I'd feel sorta inadequate when somebody would do something impressive in front of me, but I'd shake it off, and I would just go about my day. But then it seemed like every time I logged onto Twitter, I'd find a new artist who was my age or younger and just tearing it up. I mean, just absolutely stunting on the illustration game. After a while, I started to get weird about it. Like, every time I saw a cool drawing online, I would go to the artist's profile just to confirm if they were younger than me. If they didn't have their age in their bio, then I would aggressively scroll through their page looking for birthday posts or whatever until I found the answer. All the while, I would be thinking,
please don't be younger than me, please don't be younger than me, please don't be younger than me, please don't be younger than me.
And yep, they would be younger than me. And at that point, I would be all like,
no, this isn't happening! There's no reason for me to go on! What? What am I fighting for?
But did I ever practice drawing? So eventually, I put two and two together, and I realized that it was kind of silly to feel self-conscious about my own drawing ability when I wasn't really putting much effort into improving. So from that point on, I got just a little bit more serious about art. Now, I didn't put crazy amounts of time into practicing, but I was certainly drawing more frequently than I had before. I was also just a little more observant when I looked at other people's artwork. I would be like, oh, they drew the folds in the clothing that way. I could totally use that technique myself. At the same time, I was putting a little bit more thought into ways that I could improve my own drawings. I would look at my older works and think, dang bro, those proportions are way off, along with many more criticisms. Each time I practiced, drawing also just became more fun. I could draw faster, and the end result would always just look a little bit nicer every time. Soon enough, I found I wasn't envious of others' artistic abilities anymore, because I could just look back at my old stuff and think about how far I had come. Practicing also helped me to get into a groove and start developing my style. Every piece I drew just felt a little more authentically Evro. It was like I was becoming the art.
I gotta be the marble!
Now, not every drawing was a slam dunk. Sometimes it was hard to gather the inspiration to put pencil to paper. Other times it seems like no matter how many little micro adjustments I made, something about the drawing would just look off. But those incidents are temporary. The dubs are forever. Every now and again, you just draw something that goes even further beyond. Like, there are always those pieces that make me stop and go, ooh, dang, those colors are just popping. Ooh, man, look at the exaggerated perspective. Check out that pleasant, flowing design. Yeesh, look at the folds in that cloth. I don't know why, but folds in cloth have always just been something I've liked to work on. The point is, you'll enjoy art a whole lot more if you just practice a bit more than usual. Get it twisted. 95% of artists quit right before they draw their first masterpiece. I mean, think about it, bro. If you practice regularly, then you only get better, bro. It's like a free money glitch, dude. Now, you don't need to go sicko mode on your practice every single day. Just practice a little more often than usual, and you'll start seeing results. Also, another thing that helped was just to have some funny little characters to draw. The kind of characters where you could just look at them and go, yeah. Having something like that just made me want to draw more, like, oh man, what is this dude gonna do this time? I think every artist can agree to that statement to some extent, but still, it helps. So, do I consider myself a good artist now? Well, I kind of have the same mentality about drawing as Frank Zappa had about guitar solos.
My theory is this: I have a basic mechanical knowledge of the operation of the instrument, and I got an imagination.
I'd say I have just enough of the basics down to a point where I can turn what I'm imagining into something that looks pretty clean. While there's still a ton more to learn, I can confidently say that I'm much better now than I was 5 years ago, 1 year ago, even half a year ago. And this is coming from someone who still only approaches art pretty casually. I don't take any classes, and I don't really watch many tutorials or anything like that. I'm totally sure that those would help, but for right now I just focus on making each drawing cleaner than the last. My main hope for this video is that I can reach at least one other person who's going through the same sorts of doubts that I was going through back when I was scrolling through Twitter in 2019. And to that person, I say, open up your sketchbook or your drawing app and just start going wild. Even if you just mess around with some shapes and colors, the practice that you get from that will help to make your next pieces look more visually appealing. Don't compare yourself to others, but take mental notes on the cool ways that people draw certain things and try to incorporate those elements into your work. And don't feel any pressure to post all of your work online. You'll inevitably draw some things that just make you go, eh. I've got tons of drawings that make me do the same thing, but keep those drawings around. Eventually you'll look back on them and think, man, I've come a long way since then.